I've been doing work on iOS actually. I've been implementing the half single sign-on. Half because the client asked us to not use the token to sign any requests. So somehow it's gonna work for them. I didn't make that the decision. I had implemented this on Android as well. This is what I've been doing, but it was about a week or 2 weeks ago, but we haven't seen till then. And my next task on Android would be a visual one on the bottom tab bar. The animation for scaling, like when you tap on a tab, then the image is scaling, and it shouldn't be scaling, but it shouldn't be just moving a bit upwards. So this is my next task. It's very subtle, but it's a matter of quality, and I've been delaying this task for some time. So today I should be finishing iOS, and then I should be doing this on Android. If you want me to tell more about the single sign-on feature, because it's an interesting one. So when I had to implement some tasks, I had to implement some classes for accessing RESTful web services, and I was pretty disappointed because our API was didn't support that, and I thought it was very bad. I mean, I was quite disappointed. And I was quite disappointed until I saw that there was nothing on iOS. I mean, literally nothing. On Android, there was at least something, and I could use it if I modify it. And one of the last things that Sergey did before he left, he made a pull request for actually making the OK HTTP client more useful. And the more useful part is that when you're making a RESTful API request, you want to know many things, not just the body of the message, but you want to know the status code. You want to have control of the headers and things like that. So I have some classes that I added so I can use very simple classes with minor modifications from the OK HTTP client. And I'm quite happy that on Android we are actually ahead than on iOS, because there's nothing on iOS. And also what's interesting is this login issue. I realized that we hadn't implemented this before, and I've seen this login part, it's a OAuth2 login. And I spoke with Livio on the iOS Tech Talk, and I realized that nobody had implemented it before, and in London, this is kind of the standard. So it is actually quite simple. You have a basic authentication, and then you're trying to access a RESTful API endpoint for getting the token. And when you're getting the challenge, you're doing the basic authentication. And then you just get the token, you insert it somewhere, and that's it. But it was interesting to me that nobody really implemented this, and people didn't think how it should be implemented. And we did it through web views. We have a web view, some web view based infrastructure, and also doing it out of the app, which is recommended. Livio sent me some specifications. I can see why, there are security concerns. But this is I mean, I've seen this implementation in several places, but I never implemented it by myself. So I did this here, and I'm happy with it. So that's. If you have any questions, just let me know. It's. We have a client coming. Yeah.
It's on a plugin, or you implemented it?
It's in the player plugin, because I just can't wait for the login infrastructure to be finished. I mean, this login feature is quite fuzzy. I mean, we don't really have any good specifications, and we're still discussing. I mean, I'm saying we, but I wasn't even invited on the last meeting. Yeah, whenever it's ready, I'll just migrate to it. So it's part of the Scodio plugin.
Atanas, when you say login infrastructure, so what do you mean? Because all the logins, as I know, are implemented as a plugins. So we
That's
just have
a very good question. That's a very good question, Pablo. And I'm actually kind of happy that you asked it. So we have something that we call SSO. It is not exactly SSO. It is several things. It is login authentication. Yeah. It is vouchers, and it is also in-app purchases. Several things that are trying to use the same API. And the only thing that I could reuse was a
Atanas, are you talking about Android or iOS?
Android.
Okay.
Android.
Okay, I want to clarify something.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
The SSO, wait, Kariti, the SSO was implemented as part of the player plugin, okay, specific player plugin, okay, the Scodio player. It's not SSO, it's irrelated completely to our infrastructure of the SSO. Correct me if I'm wrong, Atanas.
Okay.
Well, as usual, the devil's in the details, Ruben, and like you're 99% wrong. So I'm still reusing protocol. How do you say it in Java language? Protocol interface. Yeah, I'm still using an interface, but this is pretty much the only thing I'm using from the infrastructure on Android. On iOS, I'm using slightly more, but that's for the other talk. And Pablo, shall I continue, mate? Like, because I started just.
Yeah, sure.
It was Elad.
I asked you the question.
Oh, Elad. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, Elad. Sorry, mate. I don't see you, so it's just the voice. So it is.
Voice, Pablo.
That was funny. So yeah, I mean, I claim that we don't know what SSO is, and like we need to refine this feature. The infrastructure that we have is very limited, and like it doesn't even cover general use cases. Like, for example, trying to log in by using a RESTful API web service. And like, I actually think that it somehow works because I tried it out, and I also think that there's some apps out there that are using it. But it just didn't work for me. And like, I had to rewrite it on like more than 90%. Well, it's minor changes, but like it can be done in a much better way. And the feature, like the infrastructure, the new SSO infrastructure that is now being implemented by Marav and Alex on iOS, it's something different.
It's something different, yeah. So because
well,
of this,
it is 70% the same, but it is kind of different.
What are the similar parts that you are seeing there?
The name and also the
all the implementation. As I see it, all the implementation are different because, like, in the SSO, you are getting a JWT token or something like that. I don't really familiar with it.
That's the same thing, yeah. That's the thing that you have everywhere. But like, when, for example, a simple question about the SSO feature side, when do you call it? Yeah, we don't know yet. When?
And the SSO, yeah, the SSO, I'm not really familiar with it. I never touched it. But as I know, we are just sending the token on the headers for each request in the player. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't really familiar. This is what I am.
Are you asking about my implementation or the current implementation?
The current implementation.
The current implementation is not sending any headers.
It's not sending any. Okay, so.
Well, at least I didn't see any headers being sent.
Like the authorization. Atanas.
Yeah.
Far that I understood that in search about this project, we do sending the token for in the header for any our API request.
Can you send me the code, like the line of code where we're doing this? Because I didn't see it.
I will do a second research and I will share with you.
But I think you're right. We need to define this feature. We need to understand it better because we have a lot of we have a lack of information regarding to this issue. So we must understand it better. And if it's similar in 70% to the login process, yes, so we need to think how to write it better, to implement it better.
So, like in a London agency, this is usually a feature that takes 2 weeks. I mean, our competitors will call 2 weeks to implement this feature. And like we are spending, well, not months, but like with the most recent SSO infrastructure, it's been more than a month already, I think. And this is just not acceptable, you know. And with the RESTful API, like in London, people are asked to implement a RESTful API client on the job interview. And like we've spent 6 years and we don't have a decent RESTful API infrastructure. I mean, it's...
What is the point?
It's crazy.
Okay, so what is the point? What are the action items instead of complaining and saying? What are the...
I think we should create a better REST API. Like we need to be able to to use headers and to change all
exist in our current HTTP client. But Atanas, let me elaborate a little bit and explain you. We didn't start okay, you are talking about now, and now everything is clear and you can create a retrofit interface in 5 minutes. Okay? You don't need anything.
No,
one second. You don't, in order to create a RESTful API, it takes you today 1 hour. Doesn't matter what you want to do. But when we started, when Applicasser started, and when you joined the company, there were over 50 apps that are out, okay, using an existing API. What we did, I think Sergey did a year ago or something like that. He replaced the entire old Android HTTP client using the OK HTTP. This caused us a huge change, but we decided to keep the old interface because we cannot break 50 apps that are out there. So it's always, and by the way, it's something that we have in the Android team. It's always saying what is bad and not taking action. So what I'm saying for everything that is done, if you want to do something, take an action and do that. Consulting other people, but instead of saying this doesn't work for me, this is bad, this is shit, which you're repeating and other people are also repeating. So everything is a shit. Take this shit and create gold. Okay? You want to refactor, you want to do whatever you want, do it. We are in a place of the company that we cannot always cry and complain about the others. Take responsibility and do it yourself. That's what I'm saying for everything. Everything that bothers you. If you think that the SSO structure is shit, take responsibility. If you think that everything is a shit, then I don't know, you need to check. This shit also makes millions. So it's also something that we need to consider. And a lot of decisions that were taken along the way were to support backward compatibilities, an API that were not existing 5 years ago. And I think Kariti and Reuven are the ones that can elaborate because they were there before me even. And they know why the decision were taken in a specific way or another way. So it's easy to complain and to say competitor can do. If I tomorrow open a company, it will take me 3 months to build a new app. The comparison is not the right comparison. The idea is that we have, with the current structure of the company, each one of us has a huge influence and impact on what's happening everywhere. So the idea is to take this responsibility and to take this energy and to use it to build something that will be helpful to others and to change an existing one, and not only to take a bypass way to solve a specific issue for a specific customer. So everything is a sheet. Okay, this is clear. We understood from day one that you were mentioning it. But
I'm happy you acknowledge that.
Sorry?
I'm happy that you acknowledge that. It's the first step towards change. Because otherwise, if we don't acknowledge it, then it's just like we think that everything's fine and like nothing is getting better.
I think that what you write now in 2 years will be also shit, because new API will be written. It's not because what you write now is a shit. So it's easy to come and to say, of course, we can start every 3 months that new API is created and rebuild everything. But then instead of moving forward, we will keep on fixing the existing app. We keep on fixing existing features. So there is a point that we need to say, okay, and we have this SSO, which is not a huge feature. It's not a huge feature. So we can decide that we want to re-implement the infrastructure and not bypassing it and doing some things that are awkward. And then, of course, if someone comes in 1 year and he says, what is this shit? Right? But in the specific moment that things were written, not necessarily were shit. The abstractions that you see now in your head was not clear 1 year ago when 4 years ago when we first implemented something that's related to SSO. So it's easy to come and to be in a perspective that lands today and say everything is a shit. Of course, things that were written in one way 5 years ago could be easily written in a nicer way with less lines of code and tested today. But
I'm not actually saying that it's shit. It's better than iOS. It is actually better.
Again, the comment is irrelevant, not appropriate also.
Okay.
It's completely irrelevant. The entire point of what I'm saying is that if you see something that you think that could be written in a nicer way, again, nicer way like good way, not nicer way to Atanas, do it, change it. You have the power to do pull request in every project, in every place in the code. Any one of us. So do it. That's it. It's as easy as that. Because it's easy to complain why it takes so long to compile, why this HTTP client is a shit, why the SSO doesn't work as I wish, why is this, why that. It's easy to complain, you know.
I want to say that sometimes when we want to change something, it's a little bit difficult to do something in the core because we cannot test it like, I want to check it on other apps that using it. And it's a little bit difficult to do it.
It is very difficult, Pablo. Or Elad.
So I think you are right. You are right when you say that we need to change it and not to complain. Yes, you are right. But still, we need to find the way that we can be.
Okay, this is good. What are the solutions? What do you think? What do you think will be the solution to solve? Okay, you have a problem now. You're facing a problem. Provide a solution. That's what I'm saying.
Who are you asking? Are you asking me or?
I'm asking everybody. It's like a hypothetical comment.
It's very real, and I can tell you about some steps that we can take to solve this. You're right. Like the OKHTTP is working for some specific use cases, yeah. And it happens that these use cases are very central to the app. So we must be very careful when we touch the app, yeah. And if we want to refactor this class, we need to have tests that would cover like pretty much everything, all the apps. Yeah. And like, in order to get to implementing this infrastructure, that's quite a big task. Yeah. So currently I have a deadline. I need to deliver something. And like, I did the minimum change, reused the maximum that I could use. And like, I did it with the intent to reuse my code at some time in the future. Yeah.
Atanas,
So
I
this
tell
is
you something. I tell you one thing related to the HTTP client. I seriously don't understand what is missing there that is that big. I don't understand. If you can explain me what you're missing there that is that a huge of a change.
yes. So the HTTP client is returning the body of the message, but I need the whole message, not just the body. I need to access the status code, like 200, 401, 403.
Okay. So and this I understood. So I don't see what is the huge change that needs to be done.
It is a very big change because all the methods are returning the body of the message, and if we change them to return the
no, so don't
response,
add another option that will return you the entire message, including headers. I don't understand. What is the big problem?
so just add the message.
Think about a utility method that now returns you only the body. Okay? Add a utility method that gets a request and returns you the entire response, or body with headers, or whatever. I don't know what you need. But it's there. It's not a big deal. And you don't need to
There is actually several levels, and like if you tell me that this is fine to have like a post and a post method that will get back the body, and a post method that will get back the whole response, and if this is fine, I'm fine as well. I'll add the method. That's not an issue.
Why not? Most of the time, in 90% of the use cases, you need the body. In specific use cases, you need the header. Think about a loader. A loader doesn't necessarily need to deal with status and with different header. I ask a response, I expect the body. 90% of the calls are like this, if not 95, if not 99. So for specific cases when you need the header, because header is important information, and status code is super important information, ask for specific one with this. That's all. I don't see everything as a sheet. It's hard to draw it like this, but the solution is very simple. Not everything needs to be a huge refactor. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, the entire thing.
So can we sign this off now?
Sorry?
Like can we sign this off now? Because I added these, but I added them in my own classes because I didn't want to mess with everything else. So
No,
if you say that this is fine,
that's bad.
We sign it off, and I just move my logic in there. They're very small classes, and I did them because there was no other way to go. I couldn't subclass, like I was cornered out. Yeah.
No,
so if you say that's fine, we sign this off.
Yeah.
I'll make the pull request. It's just a copy paste thing for me.
Yeah.
I'll add the methods in the client, make the pull request, and
if you really
is everybody happy with that?
And if you really want to like do an extra better work, what you can do is that the current method can use your method. Like all the posts that ask for the body will call your method and return only the body part of it. There are multiple options what to do, and you know better than me, so you make the decision. But I don't see a huge change of what you're saying here, and you shouldn't. No one of us should be afraid of touching any part of the code. It's like we don't have someone that is dedicated on doing something. I don't know, this core team that everyone sometimes present. It's I don't know how to say in English. It's a non-existing entity. There is no such thing, okay? Currently. So each one of us is touching core, is touching everything, is touching processes. Okay? So
and Ron, who is responsible to the SDK's version?
what is the exact?
Like,
what do you mean by SDK version?
When we want to create a release version, we need to use a release modular version, SDK version. I don't know.
Again, you're talking about now that releasing, like
Release.
creating a new version in each one of our modules? This is what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the generic part.
Okay, the generic, the thing was that the one that was responsible for it was Sergey, and currently I'm trying to take over this. I wanted to release an SDK yesterday, but there was a bug that was breaking the UI builder, so I couldn't do that. And meanwhile, I'm doing it. Soon James will be responsible for it, deliver, and after it, probably the one that will be responsible for it is Asaf from the QA to release a version, because he's the last point of releasing. And again, if a version is needed, like that, you need to release a hotfix or you need to release a version, each one of you is qualified to do it. It's nothing, it's to merge thing to release. So each one of us is
Okay,
qualifying.
just asking because I know it was a Sergey. And
yeah, but Sergey
maybe
doesn't exist, and Jen joined us 1 week ago. So we have this amount of time that it's this. I wanted to release yesterday version, but there was a bug that was breaking change. The idea is that we should release every week. We should go to it. Another thing that I want to mention is currently, if someone needs to release an SDK, please just announce it in the Android channel, and let's do that. Nothing should stop any one of us, okay? Like, there is no really qualification needed to do that. It's basically an automatic process that merging staging to master. That's all. That's what's happening, basically. So I would like to do it today. I'm waiting for a fix that Pablo is doing that will finish today. And if you're asking for this week, I hope that today, if not today, tomorrow morning, a new release version will be deployed.
okay.
Cool. I'm happy that we had this discussion, Atanas.
I am happy as well.
I
mean, there's gonna be more of that.
Yeah, it started as a very specific, but really it's something that I like. Take in mind that no one will do the work for you if you will not do it. Okay, it's like as easy as that.
It's just two separate things, like releasing for clients and improving the product, and like sometimes the timelines.
Okay, so what we can do is only control what we are responsible of, right? What we are not responsible of, I cannot solve you. That's the main thing. Okay, let's move forward. Sorry, Elad, do you wanna share with us what you're working on?
Me or Elad Ben David?
Whomever wants to start.
Okay. I wanted to talk with you about what I did with you are asking for plugin and
Good. So talk.
application loader hookup that we implemented. I wanted to share with you the screen, so
yeah,
I don't know.
I make you presenter, so you need to download like a plugin for the Chrome, and then you're able to be the presenter.
Okay.
You received the.
Yeah. So now you can see me. You can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. So let's just start with this interface. All our plugins are using a configuration parameters. Not all the plugins, it's not mandatory, but almost all the plugins. So as I saw it, all the plugin contracts, like all the interface, added each interface added to himself this function. So I created a plugin interface, and now it will be better if you all will extend it. All your contract interfaces that you made will extend it, and then we can use all your plugins in the SDK level and to configure them and to use them if we want. I will try to give you an example why I did it. It's like for the URL scheme, plugin URL scheme. So let's start to talk about the plugin URL scheme. If you want to make URL scheme to plugin, so you need to make something like that. This is the action type, it's plugin. You need to add as a parameter the type of your plugin. Here it's login.
What this is the interface? Sorry, it's the interface basically.
No.
Open a plugin from interface, not the Java interface. Like the interface to open a plugin via URL scheme, right?
Yeah. This is an example for opening the login plugin. Okay, so you can add. You need to add the type. It's login, and if you want a specific identifier, you can add the plugin identifier, and it will open like a specific plugin if you have multiple plugins of the same type. Okay, and optional, you can add, this is optional. Okay, so each plugin have his own data that you need to use. Like player, I guess, will need a player ID or something like that. So you need to add all the parameters after the plugin type or plugin identifier or before when you want. And I just passed all the parameters to the plugin. If I will show you an example, it will be better. Now let's go to handle plugins. So when we are getting URL scheme to plugin, what I'm doing is just going to the plugin manager, okay, and finding the plugin that we need, okay, for the plugin that identify to the type that we want, okay, and just open this plugin, initialize it, and open it with the function handle plugins. Call this function. Okay, this is part of the plugin scheme interface. So if you want that your plugin will be open via URL scheme, you must implement this interface. Okay, you can see it here. It has one function, handle plugin scheme, that gets context and the data. This is all the data that you are sending on the request, like in the example, the interface. So for enable this, we must extend this interface, the plugin interface, because I want to configure this plugin and I don't know what is the type of this plugin. So if like you are using a player interface, okay, I cannot call this function and to put your parameters, configuration parameters. Okay, so you must extend this interface. That's all for the plugin URL scheme. If something not clear, you can ask me now what you want regarding to this. Is it clear? Okay, so one more thing, it's the application loader hookup. You can read it here. I wrote a lot of documentation. It's well documented here. In general, what it's doing, it's like giving you 2 entry points in the launch process of the application. The first one is where before the before we are loading all the data, the application data. If you want to display something before all our data is loaded, so you can do it here in this function. And the other function is right after all our data loaded and before the main activity opens. So for example, I used it when I wanted to make a login. I wanted to make this login before the main activity was launched. So I did it here in this function. We are calling it in the generic intro activity. I'm calling it here. It's when intro finished, when we are finished to load everything and we want to launch the main activity. I'm checking if you have a hook plugin. Okay, if you have a hook plugin, so we are open it, and then we open the main activity when it's closed. So one more thing that we need to take care for using this hookup, it's to add this thing. Just a second. In the manifest,
Yeah,
when we
I
create,
will show now, Kariti.
okay.
I will show
So
it now.
Okay, so one we will show you what we need to add to the manifest, and that's all.
Cool. So I'm taking.
If you have a question or something, you can ask me.
I'm taking your screen. 1 second. It's only for 1 second. Okay. So basically, in the Zapifest plugin, in the client CLI app, I added what Elad was implementing, and basically just adding a yes/no to the manifest. And if I'm already here, something important that I added, it's on a different matter. Sorry, questions about this? Because I see that there is another thing that I would like to update about the manifest and the plugins, if you are already there. So I also added an option to restrict plugins for specific accounts. So basically, you can now whitelist your account IDs. So it's for example for ProSieben, Player, and this kind of stuff. And I know that in the Europe team they are also implementing plugins that are customer specific, that we don't want to expose it to everyone, and on the Israeli team as well. So you can now whitelist the IDs. If you leave it blank, it will have no restrictions. And then once you upload it, you will not be able to choose to add this plugin unless you are unless the specific account that you want to add to is whitelisted. So this is on a different matter, but if I'm already there, I thought it was.
But Ran,
yeah.
For example, you gave the ProSieben player. The ProSieben player is used for 9 or 10 apps. You expect me every time to update the manifest with account ID? Each one has a different account ID.
Yeah, you should. It's a comma separated, so you should put here the accounts that you want to whitelist. It's better than to blacklist 100 accounts, no, Ruven?
Yeah.
I can make a specific feature for you that you will need to blacklist them. Cool. So okay. That was me. Sorry, I interrupted Elad.
I finished.
Okay, cool.
If you don't have a question, so I finished.
Okay, cool. So now the second Elad, or the first,
Good.
depends on how you look at it.
Welcome back after the holiday. So basically, before the holiday, I'm not sure that if I share with you that I moved all the plugins, all the analytics providers to be plugins. So this is what I do. This is what I did. Now I'm working on integrate Firebase inside our application. That's it.
One thing about the plugins, so what we did is Elad moved Mixpanel and Google Analytics from the analytic provider section, and
Also Akamai and Comscore.
also Akamai Console. Okay, so but now when you create a new app, you have a process of default plugins, so the analytics of Google and Mixpanel are automatically added to the plugin section.
Yeah, and more than that, we migrate the providers that set on the analytics session to plugins. So at the moment, if you had like Google Analytics or Comscore inside the analytics section, now it's going to be in the plugin section.
Yeah, it's going to appear in the plugin section. And in a moment in the future, it will have a dedicated section of analytics. Today we don't have time, but I would like to share with you where are we aiming with the app in terms of the configuration. So maybe next week I will do that. Thanks. James?
Okay, so I'm still getting familiar with the ecosystem here, deep diving, and started watching the old Tech Talk videos. So I think I need to learn a little Hebrew for it, but yeah, that's where I'm at.
Can you explain us a little bit what you're implementing now?
Sure. So I have a couple of tickets. The one that I'm starting to look at right now is for supporting UI Builder, the URL scheme. So that's basically what I'm working on right now. Just starting to look at.
Okay, I will elaborate a little bit in 2 seconds. But basically, we have currently the apps that are using UI Builder have, well, currently not, but before had one type of configuration. So you can set different screens and different components, and you could have only one configuration alive. So what we add now is the possibility to have sandbox. So you can have multiple configuration. Think about multiple layouts of the app, and you can choose which one you want to present in the app. And the way to show the preview of it is via a URL scheme to open a specific screen layouts. So again, it's not really published yet and finished. Once it will be finished, I will elaborate a little bit more, but just to have a general understanding.
Tough.
Pablo?
Yeah, sure. I have, what up? I was trying to set my cam, but it doesn't work. No, saying I was trying. This week I work on the UI Builder thing for one of the customers in Latin America, and that's it. That's it. Yeah, pretty much it.
If it's possible next week, Pablo, can you, because it's not ready yet, but next week for sure it will be ready. So if next week you can present us what you did. Basically what Pablo did is adding cell styles to the existing cell style family that we have in the UI Builder. And he was the first one that was doing it. So of course we encountered different issues related to aspect ratio and stuff like that. So we decided to go with a specific approach, but better you present it next week once it's done and you can show us the code. once it will be finished.
Okay, okay. It's pretty simple. It's the same as it used to be before. Just a new adapter was added by Sergey that transformed the data that comes from the screens or the new API, and then transform it back to the old component metadata style. But that's it. It's the same thing. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Ruven, welcome back.
Thank you, thank you.
The fresh father.
ראובן מדבר רק על הילדים, זהו.
How is it to be a father?
It's a nightmare. But it's easier than being the Europe team. This is for sure. Anyway, yeah. So I'm basically working on a new app based on the channel apps. We had the player updated. Today I updated. I sent you on the Android channel. I updated the Google Play services and the support libraries to the latest that are stable.
Ruven, no breaking changes there? Have you checked the change log?
Yes. And it also compiles.
Yeah. It compiles and breaks on runtime, but it compiles, so it's good.
I don't know. For me, it's working. Okay. Anyway,
if it compiles, let's ship it.
It's not the latest support library because the latest support library is not supported for many of our support dependencies. So I use the one before it because I don't want to split the version of the support. So I just use the one before it. I send the version on the Android channel. Anyway, we will also, I guess, send it to Applause before releasing, no?
Yes. What is the reason to update, just to understand?
Basically, because there were already 2 releases in one in the Google Play services and 2 on the support libraries since the last time we updated. And we don't want to be again in the situation we are 100 versions behind and then it will take us a few weeks to update. So basically, I wanted to update as also ProSieben were updating their dependencies. So I just wanted us to be again in ahead and not so I updated it. It shouldn't have any side effects according to what I read. Anyway, yeah. So basically, I'm working on a new app based on the channel apps, and it has a purchase. So basically, I will integrate the storefront into the NeonKit player, into a different player than the Appicasters. So it will be interesting. They have subscriptions.
They have their own system of subscriptions? This is what you mean?
No, they are using, and they want to use our infrastructure of subscriptions.
Okay.
But as you know, the storefront is coupled with the Appicaster player. Yeah. So the task is basically to make it the flow generic enough to. Maybe on Android it's not that problem actually because again I need to play with it because it's a bit hard to follow just by reading the code. So I need to play with the flow to see how it works exactly. But yeah, this is the task basically.
I can help here because I've got.
Yeah, I will. Once I get again with your mock. Once I get to a state that I can I can actually start working on the task itself. Oh, by the way, Ran, I need to go back to the task you've been working on with the purchase enabled.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
It's there. It's deployed. You were stressing me for no reason.
No, but I need to implement the script part. No.
I think I did it. I'm not sure. But if take a look, I don't remember. It was more than a month ago.
Because I left because of the birth, so I don't know. I wasn't updated with what was
I
done.
don't know. I didn't touch it since the last time we talked.
Okay, I'll check it. Basically, if it's not implemented, or even if it is, so basically, we put in Zap an option to mark your app as contains purchase or not, because the purchase, if you want the app to be purchase enabled, so basically it asks for aggressive permission, let's call it, that users doesn't like to see in the store. So basically for ProSieben, we did a hack to remove this permission. You can remove from a manifest, you can also remove permission that other manifest added. So basically, we were removing this permission, and now for one of the apps, we need to add it back. So now we have the same pair with one app with the permission and one without. So basically, I had to somehow add a flag to Zap because I cannot differentiate otherwise between the apps. So yeah, so I'll check what is the progress of it, and if it's deployed, so yay. If not, so I'll have to.
I'm not sure. I don't remember myself manipulating the manifest, but so I'm not sure that it's.
Okay, we'll check. So it means basically, I don't know what will be the default value, purchase enabled or not, but it means that there will be an additional new checkbox in Zap.
Yeah, it's already there.
Okay, that you will need to mark as purchasable or not, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. It will be the default. I think will be non-purchasable because we don't have a lot of apps that are using purchase.
Okay, so it's critical for Baby and all those apps to once it's implemented to mark it as purchasable. Otherwise, they will lose the purchase.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will update.
Yeah. Once it will be deployed, we will need to do that. Yeah. It's the default is not marked, and I'll just show it for 1 second. Currently, this field doesn't do anything till we will implement it. You can see my screen, can you?
Yes.
So under the edit version, you can mark purchases.
Okay, the question is whether the rake script is.
No, I think it's not. I don't remember me doing it. So and if I would already deploy it, I would mention it to everyone because it has an effect on production apps. So no, it's not.
Okay. So once we will implement it, all of you will be notified, and you will need to make sure. I don't know if you or the project
manager. No, the project manager. I will make once we do that. I will make sure that we go through all the project managers easily before we deploy it.
Okay, great.
Cool.
That's it.
Thank you very much for your time. And I think that the beginning of the call was very important, what Atanas mentioned, like what Atanas provoked on a good way. I don't know, provoked maybe has a bad connotation, but it was a good provocation. And
basically, Ron, if I can just add 2 words, but yeah, if you want to finish, and then I can.
No, I finished.
So my main goal with the on the coding part is to disrupt our practices so that we can improve the quality of our product. We had similar situation with the process in Europe team, and in the beginning it was a bit rough. I mean, certain people didn't talk to other people for some time, like that kind of thing. But then everything is cool now. And what we managed to do is disrupt the whole process, so that in such a way that there's no going back. Yeah. So my goal is to do the same with our code base, a major disruption, and the outcome, the desired outcome, to make things better. So like we can raise our voices and like talk about shit and this is shit, that is shit, but then the ultimate goal, which is the common goal for everyone, is to improve the quality of the product and the code base.
Cool. Thank you, guys. I will publish the video beeping all the shit that I was saying in the middle.
Hey, Ram,
yeah.
can I add something before leaving? Who's the one who worked on the broadcaster location plugin?
Okay.
Who's the one?
Who is
I'm getting
working on the broadcaster selector or something like that? It was in
yeah, it's a plugin for selecting broadcaster, because I'm getting random crashes on 3 different apps I tried regarding that plugin. And I went down to it's a null pointer exception, and it's triggered because at some point the default broadcaster is null. The default, I guess most of the time the default has to be the default, but even the default is coming null sometimes. So
maybe
just to alerting.
It's related of persistence or something that is disappearing from the cache. I don't know. Take it offline with the person. Atanas, who is the one that wrote this plugin?
Which one?
Broadcaster selector. You did the Europe team for the Austrian and all this. You?
I think it was. No, it wasn't me. I think it was Ruben, maybe.
So
not sure, but like yeah.
Pablo. So
no pointers are easy.
Yeah. Okay. I'm saying just to report the issue, so everybody knows that all the apps now.
Pablo, did you post this issue in the channel, in the Android channel?
I did. I remember, and you asked me to reply back.
To do lazy instantiation in that case, or like we discussed it for a while, didn't we?
We did, but I didn't do anything in the code regards that.